Happy Friday, Amber. We are live, live, live. How are you today?
Woo, I'm good. Happy Friday to you too.
I'm super excited today because we're talking about something that I have a personal interest in because I am the person that you're talking to when it comes to talking about how to buy a house without tax returns and just bank statement loans in general. Being someone who's self-employed, who owns my own company, it's very difficult. And I want you to explain kind of what we've talked about a little bit to all the audience members today. But before we get started, my name is Laci. I am your Las Vegas bestie, realtor, lifestyle expert. Amber Coleman is one of the top 200 lenders in the nation. She's incredible. She's one of my best friends. And we love to come to you each and every week to just talk about the prospect of buying a house. We like to bring hope to make sure that you are dreaming a little dream about hopefully living in our neon hometown. And just that you know that we are your kind of friends with our boots on the ground here to answer any and all of your questions. So speaking of questions, we are going to be live for the next 30 minutes minimum. So definitely, if you have questions, drop it like it's hot in the comment box below. We will answer those questions throughout and as well as at the end so that we can make sure that you guys are being served through and through. We go live twice a week, Wednesdays and Fridays, and we try to bring unique and interesting questions that we're being asked by you guys on a daily basis when you call us about buying a home in Las Vegas. So Amber, today is one that has come up many times, mainly from me, because I'm always like, when is it? Am I good to buy now? So before we run through this, though, I know that we've had some pretty big shifts in the last few days as it relates to the market. So do you mind touching on that a little bit? Because it does definitely kind of affect the rates. And I want to make sure people have the most up-to-date information.
I would love to touch on it because it's been exciting shifts. I know the last time we went live was Wednesday, and that was right during the Fed meeting.
Yep.
And the way that the market took the Fed meeting afterwards, the end of the graphs that were put out and things like that is definitely that the Feds will be lowering rates next year. So just because that was the sentiment, remember how we always said it's not really what the Fed does as matters what they say, right? Mm-hmm. Like, or did I say that backwards? But
no, you're right.
Because he came out nice daddy, like nice guy, right? Like, and was kind of like it looks like we've hit our top, our peak. The markets took it very well. I think the Dow's up to the highest level it's been. The bonds are doing great. Everything's doing great. So rates are doing this right now. So then now that it's where we want it, like if you've been holding out on the sidelines, because rates are doing this, the 4 to 6 million people that have been sitting on the sidelines right now are going to all get off the sidelines because that's what they've been waiting for. So that the next game is catching it before the prices do this. Because when when the inventory starts going down lower, then the prices have nowhere to go but up. And when you're looking at builders, they're going to see the market and they're going to start moving it up. So right now, I'm saying, like, get yourself the gift of a house for Christmas. Yes. If that's something that you've been waiting for, springtime, I think, might be a little bit kind of busy. And then you lose some incentives there.
Absolutely. I'm gonna echo what you said and just kind of just be straight up with you guys watching us. We are going to talk about how to buy a house without tax returns, bank statement loans. We're going to walk through that in a second. But Amber and I have consistently, at least in the last 3 or 4 years, predicted what's happening in the market before it happens. And as it's happening, you could tune into us last month and this month, and the message will be different because we're constantly evolving our messaging to make sure you know what's happening real time. So with that being said, so many of you guys have reached out and said, I want to wait until January before I talk to Amber. I want to wait until January before they run my numbers. I want to wait until January. Please don't wait till January. What we're not telling you have to buy the house now. You should, but we're not telling you do. But if you're thinking about buying a house in 2024, do not wait to reach out to us. Please just get on the phone. Let's do an introductory call. Amber can run your numbers. She doesn't have to run your credit right away if you don't want her to, right? But she can run your numbers and talk about your scenario and really give you an idea of what you could do. If you think that you know what's going on with your credit, you don't. If you think that you know what's going on with all the DTI and all the other stuff happening in the world, you don't. I promise you. Amber has a system that she can do scenarios that run them by you so that you guys can look at free money programs, what loans are available. And we want you to be ready because the minute, and it's happening, my friends, it's only because it's the holidays that we're not seeing a frenzy right now. The minute the holidays are over and we start to see that rate continue to slide down even a little bit, the people are coming off the market or off the fence into the market. And then that's when you're going to start seeing the prices going up. The incentives that we've been talking about, that juicy, crunchy time frame that we were talking about buying, is coming to an end. So please, please, please get off the sidelines now. Call us. There's a phone number at the bottom. You can text me. You can call me anytime. There's also a link in the description and a link in the pinned comment if you're following us on YouTube. That's my rant, and I'm sticking to it.
I love the rant. It's a good rant.
All right. But today is definitely a really important one to talk about. It actually affects people like me and others who are like gig workers, things like that, who work for themselves or who don't have, that typical 9-to-5 type job with a tax return that comes with it, right? 1090, is it 1099? No, what's the other one? W2, right?
1099 and W2. So yeah, if they don't have a W2.
Yeah, W2. It's been so long since I've had a W2. I don't remember what the tax documents are. So talk to me, Amber, about, what happens when someone calls you, let's pretend it's me, and says, hey, Amber, I really want to buy a house, but I'm one of those people who writes off as much as I possibly can every single month and every single year into my taxes, because as a business owner, I'm allowed to do that. What do you say?
So, well, the first thing that I'll say is, let's look at your taxes, because I don't want to take anything off the table, because sometimes people will write things off, but they also put on something called depreciation on their tax returns. And we, as the mortgage, in the mortgage world, we can add that back on as income. So okay, I'll look at that first. But what happens most of the time when I'm looking at tax returns is I'm seeing that there's too little income on there to be able to qualify for a loan, because every expense that's in a self-employed person's life is used as a tax write-off. I don't blame you for using it as a tax write-off. And that's why you go to these different types of loans, like bank statement loans. Right. So that's what we'll look at, is a bank statement loan when we get to that point.
Now, if I'm looking at bank statement loans, I think there's a variety of them, right? But I'm ignorant. I don't do the loan side of things. I do the fun side of things. Sorry, but numbers are not fun.
You do the fun side. I love that house shopping.
So, I am one of those people who definitely writes off as much as I can each year to take the benefit of what's being offered for being a business owner. And I do show less income because of that. So that obviously is going to affect my buying power if I'm trying to go a traditional route, trying to, even if I pay myself a salary, which I do, even with that, I'm trying to show a traditional, go the traditional route with a certain type of loan. It's not going to look like I make much money because of all the checks and balances there. Mm-hmm. So when you're talking about a bank statement loan, that kind of brings up a little bit of like a tickly hair on my neck, because those were the loans that a lot of people were like turning kind of into a bad thing during the crash in like 2007, 2008. So how are they no longer bad anymore? How is that going to be an okay thing now?
No, that's a great question. I don't know if the bank statement loans were turned into a bad, but it is compared. So when during the crash, they had what was called stated income, or no ratio loans. So that was where you didn't provide any paperwork at all to be able to see how much you made. This way, you're at least still having to provide your bank statements to show that you have money coming in the door. So it's keeping the market a little bit safer without just trusting somebody to say, oh, I make 20,000, and that 20,000 a month was only like 1 month 5 years ago. You know what I mean? So like this one, you're still at least having to show some paperwork. So it is keeping the market. But it is a great and valid question, because that market happened and people could just say whatever they wanted to say that they made to be able to qualify for the loan. That's why the market ran into trouble. And the only way to overcome that, but still give you kind of something, was to be able to come out with bank statement loans, where you have to still kind of show what you make, because you're going to show your bank statements to be able to prove it. But we don't have, as an underwriter, they don't have to completely trust that what you say is how we're going to look at it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's totally fair. And I'm glad you explained the difference, because I've had a few people who've called who've said, I write off too much, I don't make enough. And I'm like, but have you looked at bank statement loans? And I hear but those are the things that made our market crash before. And I'm like, not really, but I'm glad you explained that. I think that's helpful, and it helps us understand it. So what types of bank statement loans are there? What is even, I know that bank statement loan is probably pretty self-explanatory. You provide bank statements, they look at the calculation, they look at the income and use that. But are there multiple types of loans that are available?
Yeah, there's a lot of different bank statement loans. And so when people call me and they want to talk about bank statement loans or talk about self-employed loans altogether, here's how I'll usually explain it. So when you're self-employed, you have to kind of look at this is a whole, right? So if you're choosing to write off all of your expenses so that there's no expenses so that there's no income left on your tax returns, then by choosing that, then you're choosing to take a little bit of higher interest rate. It's not that much higher in a lot of cases, but it's a little bit higher, right? So you're choosing to either pay the IRS or pay the higher rate. And a lot of times when people start crunching the numbers, well, if I were to lessen my expenses and pay the IRS versus pay the higher rate, a lot of times they're looking at bank statement loans and paying the higher rate because they've crunched the numbers and they figured out in their circumstance that works better for them.
Okay.
So then it's just a matter of we go in to look at the different bank statement programs that are offered. And a lot of that comes with what your credit score is, what your down payment is, because the rate's going to differ depending on credit score, down payment, and credit score, down payment, and like how much you're actually putting on your like your bank statements, and what type of, like if you're putting in a business account versus a personal account, there's a lot of different factors. So depending on your scenario and how you show your deposits coming in, that's the type of bank statement loan I'm going to look at.
Okay, cool. I know that you gave me a flyer. Is that cool if I put it up on the screen?
Yeah, because we just want to go over example of one of the bank statement loans that are out there.
I love this. Okay, yeah, let's walk through this. This is cool.
Okay, so this bank statement program is for, you can use business or personal bank statements. Here's the cool part about this. Okay, so 3 to 12 months. So if you've only been in self-employed for a short amount of time, or you haven't made a lot of income within a certain specific time, you could do one with as little as 3 months bank statements. That's not a lot, so you're looking at the deposits within that time. Most people will choose to do the 12-month bank statement because they're going to see better terms on their loan. They're going to see a better rate on the 12 months, and they might not have to put as much down payment. So that's where we kind of look at your scenario individually and say, okay, if you do it this way, here's what your numbers will look at. And if you put down, like if you do it 12 months bank statements, here's what your numbers will look at. So we're going to look at it different, but it's nice to know that you can do as little as 3 months in the bank statements.
That's amazing. So yeah, I definitely have seen a lot of people who are exactly in that situation, right? Where they say, oh my God, I just started a business. I just moved to Vegas. I left my corporate job. I no longer have the W-2 income, but I really don't want to rent. What do I do? If this is something we could absolutely lean into for them, right?
Yeah, you can definitely lean into this for people like that. Most of the bank statement programs, and there's a multitude that we can go through, most of the bank statement programs are going to require that you're self-employed for a specific amount of time. So depending on how long you've been self-employed, we're going to then go to that program that will allow that. So some of them do require 2 years on the self-employment.
And would you say most of them do? Because I definitely don't want to lead people down a path thinking that they can get away with it and start a business tomorrow and then have a house 4 months later. So would you say the majority would require a little bit of time under your belt?
Yes.
And are all of these bank statement loans going to be requiring that these are primary residences, or can we be doing investments this way?
No, you can do primary residence, second homes. Investments are going to be different guidelines than what we're looking at and it's a very limited amount for investment properties, but you could do primary and second homes.
Okay. All right. That's awesome. I love that. This is really big for someone like me who, definitely I've been doing this business for more than a couple of years now. We're going on 8 years, Amber. 8 years we've been doing this together. Holy crap. But, for people who are
crazy.
Thank you. It's just crazy. I'm so grateful that we've had our time together and that I've learned so much from you. So if I'm a gig worker, and I've been gig working since COVID, because that's a big thing that's coming up with a lot of people. They're like, I never went back to my corporate job because screw that. I decided to just piece my life together from a gig working perspective. It's been 2 years now, if not more. So would those people be qualifying or have the ability to qualify?
Yes, absolutely. So if you're a gig worker, so basically anytime that, well, how do I want to put this? So what we're going to do is you're going to look at, I'm going to have you send over your tax returns, the last one filed, so that I can see how it looks. Well, actually, no. Well, and we're going to look at the tax returns, but then we're going to go to the bank statements and see how much you deposited. So if you go back to that one form that I sent you.
Yeah, I'll put that up here.
So like if you're if you're self-employed and you're putting all your money into a personal bank account, we can count up to 100% of the deposits in that personal bank account.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're putting into a business bank account, then we can count up to 85% of the deposits. Because keep in mind that some of those deposits that are going into the bank account, we know that there's going to be expenses that are coming out of there to run the business
Right.
on it. So yeah, if you're a gig worker and you're putting all your money in the bank account, that's the one thing that I would suggest, because sometimes people that are working gig jobs are like, they're not always putting all their money and being like consistent at putting it in the bank account. So just
Right.
make sure you're doing consistent deposits in your bank account, so we have something that we can look at to be able to qualify you on.
That's really good advice. So for those of you who didn't catch that, so if you are a gig worker and you want to try to buy a house in 2024, again, reach out to us so that we can give this advice to you directly and we can talk through some of your questions. But the biggest piece of advice that I think comes from this is make consistent deposits. And I know it's easy when you're a gig worker. Sometimes that quick cash, Venmo, but all the quick money, whatever comes to you in different types of ways. Try to do your best to put it into a place that can be tracked and that can be proven with bank statements or statements of some sort with Venmo or whatever, right? Because I definitely think that that's going to hold you back if you guys aren't making that money visible, right? It's very difficult because, we have a lot of people that work in the service industry here, and tips and stuff like that is another thing that people have to concern themselves with. So making that money visible, again, like Amber said, you're going to pay the IRS or you're going to pay for it in a little bit of a higher rate when it comes to you're buying a house. So you got to determine which one's best. But we're seeing a lot of people realizing after doing the math that paying a slightly higher rate is going to be the right way to go. So
yeah.
I love that. We've got quite a few questions coming in, Amber. So I'm gonna move over to the questions and see. Sammy and Matt, hello. They both, hi, Diana. Lots of people saying hi. Quiet Hefe says hi. Diana says, is there a lot of fixer-uppers in Las Vegas, maybe with a few acres lot? Diana, there's always fixer-uppers to be found around Las Vegas. There's only a few areas of town that will allow you to have more than an acre or even an acre. Most homes are on a less than a quarter of an acre here in Vegas. It's just how it's been developed. A lot of master plan communities, things like that. But yes, there are absolutely a lot of fixer-uppers. And Amber, will you touch on that fixer-upper loan that we talked about a couple times?
Oh, I knew you were going to do that. So yeah, there's a renovation loan that's out there. So you can do it. You could do it two ways. You could do it on an FHA loan where it gives you a certain amount of money that you could utilize to be able to get that house to where you want it. Or you could do it on a conventional side too. The conventional side, you could even take it down to like slab and rebuild it. So it's kind of cool what you could do on a fixer upper on a renovation type of loan.
Love that. So great question, Diana. Thank you so much. John Harris is asking a really good question here. What if you have an inheritance with a monthly payment as income? How would that work if you want to buy a house?
Love that question, John. So you can absolutely use inheritance. What we have to do is we have to prove continuance. And most of the time that's continuance for 3 years. So however money, like sometimes people get inheritance through a trust fund, right? So we have to show the trust fund, show the paperwork to show how much you're going to be receiving in that trust fund, and make sure that that'll continue for at least 3 years.
Okay,
but you can use inheritance for income, to qualify for a loan.
I did not know that. So that's actually really good. That 3-year mark, I didn't know about that. East Sider says, are they going to be building more houses around the Durango Resort and Casino Hotel? Let me talk to you about Durango Casino. I have been saying for about 10 years that the southwest side of Vegas will be the new heart of Las Vegas, the centrifuge of where everything is happening within the next 10 years. Been saying it for 10 years. And my friends, the time is upon us right now. If you haven't already seen all over the internet, the new Durango Station Casino Resort and Hotel just opened up on my birthday or day after my birthday last week. And it's fabulous. I think it's going to win design awards. It's different than any other casino I've seen when it relates to allowing natural light in. They've got some great casino restaurants. Their sports book is probably one of my favorites in town. It's amazing. So when it comes to now that is like the kind of like the staple, the tent pole in that side of town, what's awesome is that there's already a ton of development around there, but the development in that area is probably going to happen a lot faster and a lot more now that it's started to develop. There's a lot of little, that I call that the dusty side of town, only because there's always dirt lots being upheavaled and constant movement, constant building. It's not because it's dusty. It's just, it means that it's like there's dirt lots to be developed. Now I'm starting to see a lot of those dirt lots get bought up and they're starting to develop. I promise you this, if you're thinking about moving to Vegas, you know how everybody says Henderson and Summerlin? Now they're going to say Henderson, Summerlin, and Southwest. Mark my words. I promise you that. So if you're thinking about moving to Vegas and you want to buy, getting into that area sooner rather than later would be really smart. And the Southwest is really, really big. There's a lot of really great land that's being developed that's out by Mountain's Edge, on the way to kind of Pahrump, on the way to Bonnie Springs, and some areas that lead you to Red Rock. Nobody really has done the research and talks about this area of town but me. So please call me if you want to consider it. But I absolutely love it. They're definitely building all around Durango Resort. It's gorgeous. It is the foodie side of town. If there's ever been a side of town to have that, it's that and our Chinatown area in the middle of town. Those are the two areas to go for the best cool food off the strip. And this area specifically, and I say this because I currently am sitting in the southwest side of town, are areas that are really awesome. So really want you guys to look into it. It's an amazing area of town. And yes, call me, we'll talk. All right, Amber. Matt Smith says, is there a way around the down payment? I don't have very much saved. Great question, Matt.
Matt, you always ask great questions. We love your questions. We've done a lot of different programs on like the grant programs that are out there. There's a lot of money out there right now that's out there to be able to use to help with down payment, especially in this market where inflation's kind of taken over and it's harder to save. Utilize those types of programs that are out there. So let's look at your situation individually and see which grant program we can put you in to help you get into the house.
I love that. I will say too, you know, we're doing 2 times a week as we do these live streams, right? So we're really trying to come up with all the stuff that you guys ask us the most, right? We want to make sure we're answering those questions, but cool ideas on things to talk about. And one of those things, as we go into the new year, we're going to do a grant program and a loan program roundup where we talk about all the programs that we've covered this whole year. And then soon thereafter, we're going to be talking about all the new free money grant programs that are going to be available to you, because they come out kind of January, February, every single year. So this is the place to be. You're in the right place. This is the place to be. But yeah, that's typically how you would have to get around that. And I'm looking at it too for myself, Matt. So I'm with you. All right. Quiet Hefe says, are there houses between 500 to 800,000 range in Anthem? So interesting. You just asked that. I saw that question pop up, did a little quick search while Amber was talking. Right now I see, and this is with no criteria other than just Anthem, I see 12 homes listed as of right now that are 1,300 square feet all the way up to 3,300 square feet. And all but 3 are under 600,000. So yes, is the answer to your question. Anthem is amazing. I love that area of town so much. It's gorgeous. It's beautiful. Yeah. And here's the deal. You don't have to actually be in Anthem to be able to take part in the Anthem experience. All around Anthem, Seven Hills, over by Inspirada, all of that stuff kind of is interconnected, McDonald Ranch, and there's some gorgeous homes. If you guys haven't already done so, I did just do a 2-part, very lengthy 2-part series about Henderson itself. And I broke down as many of the neighborhoods that I felt were worthy of bringing up in those videos. And the second one, part 2, I touched on Anthem and all the things that Anthem has to offer. So definitely worth it. There's homes that are all ranges in there, multi-million-dollar homes, all the way down to, like I said, some of them in the 300,000 range, depending on what you want to buy. So call me, we'll talk. I'll tell you all about it. It's going to be wonderful. All right. Chris Lee, let's see. We got Matt Smith says we have amazing answers. We love you, Matt. It's awesome.
We do love you. Thanks for all your questions. You have amazing questions too.
All right. Well, I know I don't see any other questions popping up, but I think it's a couple more, but I wanted to just take a moment to tease some of the stuff that's coming up this month so you guys can stay tuned. So when it comes to our live stream schedule, again, we're going Wednesdays and Fridays, unless I get sick again, but it's typically going to be Wednesdays and Fridays.
No more sick.
No more sickness for me. Before the end of the year, we're going to touch on a few things that we think are important being a part of the end of the year. So 5 problems first-time home buyers never see coming. So we want to let you guys know what that looks like. We're going to run through some of the things you should be fully prepared for. DSCR loans, investing in real estate without income history. That DSCR loan, popped up last year and blew my socks off. I was so excited about that. We had several people take advantage of it. So if you guys are looking to maybe buy something as an investment before the market gets really hot again, this would be something we want you to call us about or reach out to us about. And then my favorite one that we're touching on, it's going to be the last one of the year, the 22nd of this month. We're going to talk about how to lower your mortgage payment without having to do a refinance. So
it's exciting.
Listen, we're bringing the heat. We're bringing the heat. We're trying to let y'all know that we are here for you. We're not always just trying to sell you a house. We are definitely wanting to bring you information that can help you just live your best Las Vegas life, but also have the best experience with the home that you do maybe already own, and that you're thinking about, buying if you haven't ever thought about it being possible. It's absolutely possible, and we want to bring that hope to you. Let's see. We got a couple other questions. Sammy says, does joint FICO still apply if you're not legally married? Good question, Sammy.
That's a great question. Whether you're married or you're not married, what we're going to do is we're going to pull credit for both people. And then we're going to take whatever one lands in the lowest one out of so we're taking the middle FICO score out of the 3 bureaus that are pulled, and whichever borrower lands lowest is the one that we're using for like the rate on it. So we still have to run both people's credit. So it's always good to let's talk in advance. So if we need to work out any game plan to help one of you out, then we have that worked, to be able to get you out looking at houses. And you never know when you're going to need some type of advice before you're going to go out. Some things catch people off guard all the time.
So Sammy, I know we texted this morning, and I know you want to talk to Amber in January, but I'm not going to grant your wish. I'm going to make you talk to her before.
No, that's not this month. I mean, seriously though, just if you're thinking about January, that's just around the corner. So let's just get you started. It doesn't have any harm.
Yeah, it doesn't harm you.
We can always do a soft pull on it so it doesn't show an inquiry in your credit. That way we can just give you a game plan.
Yeah. So that's something I wanted to close out with today. I've got a couple other questions that popped up, but at the end of the day, guys, so many of you, no matter how many times we say it, still think you've got to do a bunch of work before you reach out to us. And I want to just reiterate, we are here to do the work. We want to help you think through those questions and those things. It's stressful. It's stressful enough thinking about buying a house. It's the largest purchase most people make in their lives, right? It's also stressful relocating. Most of you guys are trying to relocate here, right? So let us take some of that stress off your shoulders. We do not pressure you. It is all about just giving you the answers you need. Amber is one of the only loan officers that I've worked with that will spend as much time as she does, and it's a lie, to just one-on-one collaborate with you and figuring things out. So don't think you got to have it fixed. Don't think your credit has to be fixed perfect. We don't care. None of that matters. Let us take a look at it before, because again, reminder, your credit and all the stuff you're seeing is absolutely going to be different than what Amber sees. They use a very different system and process. So want to make sure you guys aren't waiting and then waiting too long. We really don't want you to lose out on this juicy, crunchy time that we're in for home buying.
Exactly. So we love your juicy, crunchy times that you paint the picture of for us.
Love it. Matt Smith apparently is loving my little cocktail setup behind me. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Here's another question that came through. Howard says, for investment purposes with a potential budget of $400,000, what's a better investment, a house or a condo? Really, really good question. We were just talking about that this morning, actually, before we went live. Amber, you want to take this one or you want me to?
Well, I think we can both kind of answer it a little bit, right?
I mean, you touch on it. You touch on your side.
So here's what I love condos. I have a condo myself, but here's the benefits of, here's the disadvantages of condos. When you own a condo, you own what's only inside the walls. The outside of the house, the roof, and even the grounds are owned by the HOA. So if the HOA screws up and doesn't do something right, that could affect how you can sell your house because of what kind of financing the buyers can do that's buying your house. So if you have a great HOA, condos are really good, but you can't control them. On a single family, you're in control of your own life.
Right.
You're not having to pull out an outside party to be able to make sure that your values are staying there because the condo is doing something right or the HOA is doing something right or wrong. So single family is usually going to hold a higher value for you for investment purposes than a condo would. Townhouse though would be the same as the single family residence. So
Yeah. So like if you're looking, sorry to interrupt you, but if you're looking at budget wise and realizing there's so much more to offer right now from a condo perspective versus houses, you'd be right. But townhomes give you that nice sweet spot in between the two that allow you to have a little bit less in terms of like what you need to come out of pocket for, but they give you a little bit more rights and access to control your own destiny. Right. The other thing I would say too is, inevitably because condos, they're multifamily experiences in terms of like how they're set up. There's often more of that inventory on the market than typically single family homes. So the prices they get dampened by that. The less inventory equals higher prices, more inventory equals less, right? So the more inventory that's on the market, the less your resale value is going to allow you to go skyrocketing, no matter how many upgrades you've done, no matter all the stuff that you put into the house. That's what's going to hold you back. Meanwhile, the market's going to dictate, and the neighborhood and all the other things are going to dictate what you do when it comes to your home on a single family side. The other thing to note too, guys, is we're going to actually be doing an interview with an appraiser, hopefully in the coming year, where we're going to be talking through what does really matter when you're upgrading things in your house and what doesn't, because so many people put a lot of money into things that ain't nobody care about, especially the appraiser. So something to keep in mind. We're going to be doing that really, really soon. All right, here's another one. Can you buy a house that's less than 2 years old in my budget in a newer area? Howard, great question. And yes, the answer is absolutely yes. So I actually have a client who just purchased for 369,000, a townhome located in a brand new area of town, a brand new townhome. Nobody's ever lived in it. He was able to customize it a little bit, and he is absolutely loving it. They only have one shared wall, and it's a wall it's like the garage wall is what's shared. So they can't hear each other. It's a townhome, gorgeous neighborhood, right next to all the beautiful amenities in the northwest side of town. So yeah, the answer is yes. You can absolutely buy something under 400, at least as of now. He did a quick move in. He was still able to negotiate some things into the move in as far as like appliances and some new floors and things like that. And it was under 400,000. So highly recommend that you give us a call, and I can tell you what's available. Let's see. One other question that we had, I thought this would be a good one to end on. Chris Leos. Hi, Chris. Don't know you, but nice to see you. Says, thank you. Thank you for your hard work. Who is Laci McCarty?
Oh, yes.
So
that McCarty name right there is a beautiful name on Laci, huh?
So for those of you who aren't aware, I went through some life change in the last few years, and my name was the final piece of the puzzle. So I'm back to my maiden name. Laci McCarty is a girl I haven't said out loud in 22 years, just because I've been married. So so my name is changing. The business name as well will be changing in the new year. So really, really excited to be able to say my name out loud and not shudder anymore because of bad feelings in my stomach from a bad experience. But super grateful that you asked that question. I wasn't going to say anything, but hey, you asked. And I love that Paul's like, Laci's a realtor. That's who that is. I don't know why you're asking that question. Laci's a realtor. Who is Laci? Laci is me. So thanks for asking, Chris. Appreciate it. Super excited to be kind of, stepping into the new year with a new name and a new excitement that this market is going to hopefully give us a little bit more opportunity to get you guys from where you are to where you want to be, which is right here in our neon hometown. So if you're thinking about moving to Las Vegas, Laci McCarty, so weird saying that out loud. I haven't said that name since I was a kid. And Amber will both be here to help you. Even if you're not moving for 10 years, we don't care. We really want to give you advice. Our crystal ball is a little foggy the further out it gets, but most of the questions you guys ask are the same as we move through things. So want to definitely make sure you're aware. I actually just talked to somebody this morning who asked me, who's definitely just coming in to rent an apartment. A lot of people think I'm bullshitting you when I say that I'll be available, but I spent 35 minutes on the phone answering basic questions about Vegas, about the DMV, about just basic stuff when it comes to relocating. So I don't care personally if you're buying right now. I want you to, because I don't want you to get stuck on the outside doing the Mervyn's. Remember Mervyn's? Open. Remember those commercials back in the day in the 90s? I don't want you to be stuck on the outside.
We're aging ourselves saying that
No, I'm not. I just remember them because I saw them on YouTube. So all that being said, definitely want to help you guys. Don't want you to be stuck on the outside. So give us a call. I definitely make time for you. And as long as we can schedule it, I'll make it happen. And Amber is more than willing all the time to be available when it comes time to answering questions about anything. It does not hurt to reach out. It doesn't matter when you're planning to buy. Let her look at her systems. So you're not doing the dance around stuff that doesn't even freaking matter. Right, Amber?
Yeah, just think about it. Like FHA guidelines are over 1,000 pages. Conventional is probably the same. VA is the same. So it's hard to know everything that you can do just by looking at a few bullet points. But it's my job to know that. And honestly, I feel like I'm paying it forward to be able to help, because I believe truly that everybody deserves home ownership. Like that we all deserve to be in our own place and have our own freedom. So like if there's something holding you back, don't let the thought of that hold you back. Let's work out that game plan so that you at least have a direction moving forward.
Absolutely. I love it. We have one last question and then we're going to let this baby go. Actually, two. Howard says, lastly, do you manage income property? Howard, I love that you're asking this question. We get this a lot. So I used to be a part of a brokerage that offered property management services. I've since separated from that brokerage and moved into another one that was a better fit for my business model. I don't personally manage income property, but I will happily connect you with some people who I've personally vetted. One guy who I love to send people to manage their properties is a realtor who's been doing this 20 something years. And we went to junior high school. Oh, I just dated myself. Oh, that just came out of my mouth and I dated myself. We went to junior high school together. He's not affiliated with my team. He doesn't, we don't pay each other for anything like that. There might be a referral payment or something. But what I love about him, though, is he operates the business himself. He keeps it small. He doesn't say yes to every single house. He's very selective. But what I love about that is that means you get that personalized touch. So I definitely have people I can recommend to you for that. And another thing I wanted to let you guys know and remind you of is that Amber is licensed in other states other than Las Vegas and other than Nevada. And I'm not. I only work in Nevada and in Las Vegas, but I also have access to agents that I've personally met and vetted in many of the states that you guys are moving from. So if you're thinking about buying a house out there, call us. We can connect you with people, or Amber might be able to represent you on the loan. And then if you're looking at selling your house, call us before you list it and let me connect you with someone who I trust who can help us work together on both sides of the experience. So definitely want to just make sure you guys know that we are not just one size fits all. We want to make sure that, we're serving you in every aspect we can. And Chris says the last thing is, I'm one of your biggest fans. Thanks for the explanation. I figured as much. Thank you, Chris, for asking the question about my name. I have not said it out loud very often. It's so weird. Hi, I'm Laci McCarty. I haven't been Laci McCarty since I was like 20 something years old. It's so weird.
It has a good ring to it. It has a good ring.
Well, my parents did a good job back in the day, so good for them. So anyway, guys, thank you so much. Happy Friday, Amber. I certainly appreciate you making time for me, of course.
And thank you for having me. I always love being here.
Love it, guys. Stay tuned. We've got some really hard hitting, awesome live streams coming up Wednesdays and Fridays. Stay tuned. If you're not already subscribed, do that now. If any of you happen to follow us on Instagram, we just got a notification that we're going to be able to do these live streams on Instagram as well. So we're going to be working on adding that to the mix so that you guys can tune in there. So stay tuned. Things are about to get busy. Things are about to get lots more fun in the new year. Super excited that you guys joined us today. If you have any questions, you better reach out. That's my phone number. Come on, guys. My phone number is on the freaking screen. Let's hear from you. All right, Amber, I'll talk to you guys soon. Thank you again for hanging out.